Good morning everyone, and welcome back to another video. So this is the third time I am trying to film today's video. Hi everyone. I tried filming it on Wednesday, didn't really turn out that well, so I tried filming it again on Thursday. Still didn't really care for the footage, and so it is now Friday morning, so I'm gonna try again. But what I was trying to do with this Saturday's video is, I mentioned it in my plans for 2021 video, but I want to do a lot more and show a lot more behind the scenes of what actually goes into creating a stop motion or creating my photos, and not just show you the final product, not just showing you what I create, but document what I create. For this Saturday's video, I wanted to take you behind the scenes and show you my photography setup for food photography and stop motion at home, and kind of show you what my old setup used to look like before I bought stuff for my food photography and stop motion, and what it looks like now that I've spent a little bit of money to add it to my kit. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so when I do my food photography and my stop motions at home, I shoot in my kitchen. And I shoot in my kitchen because it is the only room that I have the most available space around sort of like a center table. So I just shoot in my kitchen over my kitchen table. Now, before I bought extras for my food photography and my stop motion kit, this is what I used before. So on to the right side, I don't know exactly what direction this window faces. I want to say this window faces east, but I would set myself up pretty close to this window because I would use natural light, and that's what I used before I bought lighting. So I would use natural light, I would use either my kitchen table, or I would use boards like this. This is just like a charcuterie board I had, and I've got a couple other boards, and I would use these boards, some kitchen towels, and this old desk part that I had kicking around. This is what my photography setup was before I invested some money. And it was pretty simple, but it worked for me. And I'm a huge believer in you have to work with what you have, and this is what I had at the time. Alright, and this is what my setup looks like now. Now, I've mentioned before that I decided to spend a little bit of money and add to my food photography and stop motion kit. And for the past month, that is what I showed you over there. That is what I've been using. But I just found that there were certain things that were kind of hindering my photos, and I wanted to level up my game in this field. So I decided to spend a little bit of money, and one of the first things that I bought were some surfaces to use. So I've got some right here. These surfaces are from Amazon. They were $50 for a pack of 4, and what you get is you get this like white brick one that you can kind of see. You also get this like black marble one, and then you also get this wood one. And then I'm currently, this morning, I am using the white marble. But $50 on Amazon for a pack of 4 surfaces, and that was the first thing that I decided I wanted to buy to level up my game, just because using my kitchen counter did pose some challenges with how reflective it was, because it was reflecting things like my window, it was reflecting my kitchen light, it was reflecting this door right here. So I wanted to buy some surfaces that weren't going to be reflective. And then I also bought, when I bought these surfaces, is some clips. So these clips are also just from Amazon. They came in a pack of like 6 or 7 of them. And so what I'll do is, sometimes I'll lay out my surface flat like you see here. It just kind of depends on what I'm photographing. But sometimes what I'll also do is I don't want to knock this over, but I'll kind of swoop the surface and I'll put this behind here, and that way I'm just using one surface. I haven't fully experimented with using all of the surfaces. I've mostly been using this marble one, and I don't have like the perfect setup quite yet. One of the things that I would love to be able to do is actually use 2 surfaces and have one of them act as a backdrop, but I just don't have quite the means to mount it correctly, just because I don't have like a wall in here that I could just attach one of the backdrops to, so I would have to use like one of either my boards that I'm currently using and just trying to like DIY makeshift a backdrop with it, and it doesn't turn out like the greatest. So by no means do I have the absolute best setup. Something that was really important to me is that I work with what I have. I try to maintain somewhat of a minimalistic setup, and that I don't get sucked into all of the fancy things that like I need this and I need this and I need this to create beautiful food photography photos or stop motions. I really try to keep that side like in check when I'm doing photography. So yes, there's a couple things that I would like to further change to my setup, but this is what it looks like for now. Alright, so one of the last things that I've bought recently is lights for my food photography, for my stop motion, and for my YouTube videos. So for the longest time, I have been using natural light. And in the summertime, it was fine because we had so much daylight. Like the sun would rise between 5 and 6 in the morning, and it wouldn't set until 10 o'clock. So I pretty much had all day to create what I wanted to create. But now that we're in winter, the days are a lot shorter. You know, sunrise or first light isn't really until 7 a.m. and it's dark out by 4. But optimal lighting is between like 12 and 1 right now. So it's not like the greatest lighting. And so I just decided, in order to level up both my photography, my stop motion, and my YouTube videos, I wanted to invest in some lighting so I can create at any time of the day again. So I bought these newer soft boxes from Amazon. They were $150 for a set of 2. So I have one right here that I was using to side light my stop motion. And then I actually have, you might be able to see it, but I have another one here just to shine some light. I haven't fully experimented with them yet in, you know, countering sort of like the white balance and the positioning of the lights, but so far I've really been loving having lights, because now whenever it gets dark out, I don't have to wait until the next day or the next couple days when the light's going to be better to do photography. I can actually just whip out the lights and shoot at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So I was kind of on the fence of, you know, being a natural light food photographer or only shooting with natural light, not venturing into the side of artificial light, but there are a lot of benefits with it, and so I'm really excited to learn more about using artificial light. Alright, as for my camera gear, you've pretty much all seen it before. I use my Manfrotto Element travel tripod. I have my Olympus EM1 Mark II, and most often when I'm doing stop motions, I'm using my 12 to 40 millimeter lens. And then when I'm doing like still food photography, I switch between starting off with my 12 to 40, and then I might switch it out and experiment with the 40 to 150. This might seem like a super unconventional lens to use for food photography, but one of the things that I absolutely love is sharpness of this lens, even in a small tight space like this. And so I did some experimenting with this lens the other day and some Oreos, and I am like so blown away and excited about how well those images turned out. I was using the 40 to 150, I was using my new services and the lighting, and I'll show you some of the photos that I took, but I think they turned out really well. And this is pretty much what I use when I'm doing both the stop motions and my food photography. Alright, so I would love to be able to have like an in-house studio space where I can create and I don't have to kind of put everything up and tear everything down, because when you're using a current space that you have, say it's your living room or like me where it's your kitchen, when you create, like things just kind of go everywhere, and my kitchen is a bit of a mess right now. So when I want to go make myself lunch, or when I, you know, want to go make myself dinner, it is a bit of a pain, because that means I have to tear everything down and put everything back up when I want to create. So yes, having an in-house studio space would be really lovely, and perhaps that's going to be a goal in the future for me, when, you know, my fiance and I are ready to buy a house, that I do have a little bit of a studio space to myself, but you have to work with what you have, and this is what I have. So the only item that is probably in my shopping list of what I want to buy to, again, let's continue to level up my game in food photography and stop motion, is a new tripod. So I have been using, this is the Manfrotto Element Travel Tripod. I've talked about it before on my channel, and it's a great tripod for travel and landscape photography, but it's not the greatest for food and stop motion, just because I can't really get a flat lay shot or an overhead shot with this tripod. It's really difficult to do that with, and so this is the closest that I can get to getting a flat lay or overhead shot, and so unless I go handheld. So I would like to perhaps buy a tripod that is specifically for food photography and stop motions, but that's probably one of the only things that's left on my shopping list of what I want to buy, other than maybe some additional props and stuff like that. Alright, so thank you everyone for joining me today in the behind the scenes look on my photography setup for food photography and stop motion. I really hope you enjoyed watching today's video. I now need to clean up the mess that I have created this morning and finally finish my cup of tea. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button below and subscribe. If you have any questions, just leave a comment down below, and if you haven't already, go follow Beautifully Wander on Instagram, because that's where I just post more often throughout the week. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.